January 2013, I had a breakdown on a yoga mat. I had gone there to be filmed to be on TV. My friend at the time, she was getting some B-roll done because we had just finished a bodybuilding competition. And the news was doing a segment on her because she had lost a lot of weight. She saw what I was doing on this journey and decided to join in. And this was a incredible thing for her. In this moment, I was on this yoga mat. And I had a moment where my whole life kind of flashed before me. And I realized that how I had been living was not the way I really, truly wanted to be living. I was at this point in my life where I checked all the boxes. I had everything, the perfect life, you name it. The body, the husband, the kids, the businesses. We traveled, we had it all. You know, if you looked up American Dream, I was exceeding in that area. Yet I had this moment on a yoga mat that forever changed my life. It literally showed me that I wasn't actually really happy. I couldn't unsee what had happened. I had a complete meltdown on this mat, and I realized that I was not, in fact, happy. Even though I had achieved such high levels of success, something was still missing. So after leaving that yoga studio and realizing I couldn't unsee what had just happened, I realized that something in my life had to have a massive change, and I couldn't go back to the way things were before. I had been in survival mode and I had no idea that that was happening. I had just been going through the motions and just living right below the bubble of explosion, and really all the things that I achieved in my life were not fulfilling me and making me feel the way I thought they should. So my life turns upside down, as it would so happen. My husband at the time ended up moving out. That's what we had come to an agreement. I had been walking on eggshells around that relationship, and we had just gotten to a brink where we were the perfect couple. We were a power couple, and we were no longer that anymore. We were both in survival mode. So the best thing is for him to move out, and a therapist suggested that. So that's what we did. I started going on a very deep spiritual journey of figuring out, why did my marriage break down? Why did I stay so long if I was so unhappy? And why was it not repairable? Like, what happened? I knew that there was something that within me that I had to search for and figure out. And this began the awakening of my spiritual journey. I started seeing signs of something from beyond contacting me and telling me that there was something else that I had to do in this lifetime. And as I was going through the process of healing and really figuring out what was next, I realized that I needed to go into something called monk mode. And so after my separation, I had a little wild time after that, just trying to figure things out. It was a very short period of time of 3 months. And then after that, I went into something called monk mode for 3.5 years. I was celibate. I was just having the different spiritual teachers come to me, dead or alive, and started really finding out who I was and how did I get here. I had no idea what healing was. I had no idea that I had trauma. I knew that I had a traumatic experience happen to me in my life, and that I really didn't know how to be in my emotions. I had a lot of anger that was processed. I had a lot of things where I was proving myself to the world. If you looked up all the things that you could possibly be using to help you get through life, that was me. In a sense, I numbed myself. I was always proving my worth. I was high achiever, and this lack things actually created so much success in my life because I was always trying for best, for greatest. Coming from a different place, though. I ended up getting a divorce, and I ended up going on the deepest journey of my life to figure out who I am. I started figuring out that as I healed myself, I was shifting consciousness. As I worked through certain patterns, I was releasing myself from the past. I was no longer reliving the past every day like a victim. I was changing into the most powerful version of myself, the most authentic. I was dropping the mask. I was dropping the need to be liked. I was moving through this process of going through towards enlightenment, where I was no longer letting all the heavy things in life that I did drag me down. I was like letting those boulders one-on-one, like off my back so I can rise. As I was shifting in this consciousness, guess what happened? I started realizing as I healed, I started creating my reality. I started calling things into my life. And then I started researching and learning about money and realizing the concepts that I had learned and that I was discovering through my healing journey, I could apply to money and the consciousness around money. It really went hand in hand. My father was an abusive person. I had an abusive experience when I was 16 with him, where I thought I was going to lose my life. And I never had a sense of safety. And looking at my 17-year-old right now, I couldn't imagine ever bringing anything like that to this this young lady who I protect and I take care of. I didn't have that protection and I didn't have that safety. I had someone who was a male figure in my life that was taking away all of my safety and not providing any protection for me. So I created my own false sense of safety, but it put me into survival mode, into protection mode, where I grew the armor on me, where I became someone who was always ready before, I was ready at any time that someone could come, because I went straight into the instincts of everything was a danger after that. Everything could be, harmful for me. Ironically, though, I would let people in, especially men, that weren't safe anymore, because I didn't have a great role model of what a safe masculine energy could look like. And for many women who are in that wounded masculine, this is what happens to them too. It can come from your mother's wounded masculine too, not just your father's. So this is where I started numbing my emotions, because I never wanted to feel pain or get hurt or have disappointment. And, there come the ice queen in me. I thought if I shoved down my emotions, I didn't have to feel them anymore. They would just get pushed away. I knew that this came upon me as a gift, going to the darkest places of my life, uncovering them and healing them. I knew something beautiful was going to be on the other side of it. But let me tell you, it was a journey. It was a journey. I have taken my mess and made it my message. I have been able to transmute all of the energy. I feel healed now. Healed. I could not say that 12 years ago, but I am here now. It took some time and it took me working through it, but I'm here. I'm at a place where I feel the power. I feel I can do anything at this moment in time. I can have any amount of money, because I've done this work. My breakdown created my breakthrough and my legacy. I'm so grateful for every point in my life. I'm grateful because it brought me here. Wealth consciousness to me is having the enlightened version of money with you, where you don't ever have to worry about if it's going to be there. You have let go of any limiting beliefs around money, that your consciousness is so high, you know that money's always there for you. It's always around you. It's always going to be coming in. It is an overflow. You have this calmness about it. You haven't assigned any meaning to it, that it means something negative or bad or good or whatever. It's just there because it's in existence to help take care of you. It's the wealth. Wealth is there for you. It's not for you to have to work and earn it like you would before, It's there for you in unlimited amounts, just like consciousness is. So when you expand your money mindset, you expand your wealth consciousness. When you take away all the limits to how you can have the more, the much, you take away all of the things that stop the barriers of more money coming to you. So I've gone from feeling guilty and shame about money, which is on the lower level of consciousness, moving all the way up and learning that if I give money away, if I invest money, whatever, it's coming back to me. The more and more I get free and freer and release any barriers around money, the higher my wealth consciousness rises. And I get to a place where it's always here. I get to use it. It has no control over me. It is there to serve me. And that's the difference. And when people can expand their wealth consciousness, it's a beautiful thing. Money again. So doing the consciousness work where we're healing, you're getting a clean slate, applying it to money so that you can rise your wealth consciousness. And then you can create and manifest anything you want from there. I wouldn't change a thing. Like I said, my kids tell me, even though I had some guilt for many years, which I don't anymore, Mom, you did the right thing. It was the right thing that you got divorced. It's the right thing. Look at the life we've created. Look what you've created. This is absolutely was right for you. And that's great confirmation, hearing from your kids, because I never wanted my kids to ever feel the lack, because it was their family too, to have anything negative come from that situation. I worked my butt off. I've dedicated my life to my children so that they never ever felt the pain from that divorce, so that they were always enriched and they were at their highest level of consciousness. They were loved. They were provided for. They got everything I possibly could give them and then some, to make up for not having that person in their lives on a daily basis with their father, which I encouraged their relationship with him. But I wanted to make them whole, and I did. Now my kids know emotional intelligence. They have it. They also know money's always around us. We broke generational trauma. We've broken generational curses when it comes to money and whatnot. We've changed the game, all because of that moment on that mat. I was looking for something, searching for fulfillment, searching for the more. And guess what? I have it now. And you can too, because at the end of the day, fulfillment is everything. This is where our consciousness rises the most, and anything can come to us, feeling that feeling of fulfillment.